Two, hello. Check two. Check. Chin chin, folks. Oh boy. Man. I'm not sure that there's a better 1-2 punch when you're talking about lunches. You're talking about a nice meal. Than a tasty burger and a crisp, cold Monster Energy Ultra. Those two things, one after another. There's just nothing like it. It's a 1-2 punch lunch. Oh. That was just tremendous. A root beer is nice too. I mean, really any ice cold soda. Yes, it is the pineapple one. Yep. Any ice cold soda, really. Even an ice cold beer can be nice, you know? Maybe not at 12:46 in the afternoon. Or maybe you could even. I don't know. I'm not judging. I have one. That burger was very good, though. That was really good. Now that I've figured out this kind of smash burger style, the ability to just make a really good burger at any time has really opened up a lot of possibilities for me. Excuse me. That comment paired well with your shirt. Exactly. Yeah. You got to keep kids off drugs, but if you want to have a 12:45 beer, I mean, that's totally okay. That's fine. Yeah, that was really solid, honestly. That was a really nice lunch just now. I think maybe could have used some kind of a spicy component if I'm going to be picky about the burger that I just had, which was pretty much perfect. And I actually got the extra lean hamburger meat by accident, which I usually don't like, but it is honestly quite good. Maybe if I didn't have any like pepperoncinis or something, like that could have been good to throw on there. A couple spicy peppers maybe would have elevated that even more, but that burger was just about perfect, honestly. Like if I got that burger that I just had just now, that I just whipped up prior to starting the stream, if I got that in like any kind of burger restaurant, cheap diner or burger restaurant, I'd be like, hell yeah, that's delicious. It was really good. And it would cost $20. No, I mean, it's not one of those like fancy ones. It's not a fancy. This I would pay $7.99 for a trio. Which would be that burger, some fries or onion rings, and a soda. You know, call it $8. If I'm going to pay $20 for a burger, it's going to be one of these super high-end ones that's got all kinds of fancy stuff on it. In 1990, maybe this is wishful thinking, I don't know. I feel like in Quebec there's still greasy spoon diners where you can get some pretty cheap food. Prices have definitely gone up, even at the greasy spoons, but like I feel like you can get a hamburger and fries and a drink for relatively low. maybe 12, 13 bucks, but not 20. I don't need fancy stuff on my burger either. I got one patty, mayo, mustard, some onion, pickle, salt and pepper on the patty, and that's all. That's all I need. Some Lao Gan Ma would be good, but that's getting into fancy territory, though, I think. That is getting into fancy territory. Although it would absolutely be very good. My favorite greasy spoon, you can get a burger, fries, and drink for like $6-7. It's called McDonald's. But what McDonald's, though? Like, if you're talking about one of just the regular hamburgers, one of the little tiny hamburgers and cheeseburgers, okay. But if you're getting like a Big Mac or a quarter pounder, you're talking $13 probably for the combo. Thank you for making me eat and hydrate every weekday. It's my pleasure, Cinnamon Challenge. It's my pleasure. It's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. It's to hang out, to inform and entertain, and remind us all to engage in our daily acts of self-care, whether it's eating, hydrating, stretching, doing yoga, whatever it is. That's what I'm here for. How's the yoga going? I haven't done it, and I didn't do mine today. I didn't do it yesterday because I was a little bit sore and I wanted to take a day off. I should do it today. I didn't get a chance to do it before. I was just in a meeting from like 11 all the way up till 12:30. So I didn't get a chance to do it today. I'm going to try and do it later, though. I will try to do it after. Yoga helps with soreness, but I think the yoga that I was doing was making me more sore, though. I think I was sore from doing the yoga, from like exerting myself. Are you doing yoga with Adrian? Yes. Yes. I've been doing the quick 10-minute neck one. I've done a more serious neck and upper shoulder ones, and I did the hip and lower back one the other day, and that one was hard. I heard famous Twitch streamer Yugopnik is starting to do yoga streams called Yogopnik. Wow. Do one of the short videos like that 6-minute one. Yeah, no, I did do the short. Hello, Mistress of Insanity. Hello. I did do the short neck one. Which has been good. I'm wondering if I should do it now. Would that be crazy if I did that now? Would that be too wild? That would be wild. That would be wild if I did that. Man, I don't know. I'm maybe a little shy. In fact, I don't know if I should do yoga right now. I literally just ate a cheeseburger and slammed an energy drink. Is that the best time to sit down and try and practice self-care and doing a little yoga video? I literally just 5 minutes ago slammed a cheeseburger. You know? Branch out and become a fitness influencer. I guess I could do that, Sam. Look at me. I'm a model of health and physical fitness, so really it would make sense, I think. it would make a ton of sense for me to do that because just look at me. I could very easily transition into doing that kind of content. Are you into fitness? I mean, obviously, look, you can see from me, from my physical appearance, that I am into health and all that stuff and what have you. I'm wearing a fitness hoodie. That's right. Got to get you into lifting like I do. Get you benching plates. I used to do that back when I was a teenager, Mistress of Insanity. I used to go to the gym and stuff. I lifted a little bit. You have seen me draining threes. That's true. As you all know, that I am a hooper. Fitness pizza into my mouth. Moist outlets. You just got beat by it. You just got beat by just a moment by Husker. No, I don't think I'm quite ready to do yoga on camera yet. Even though I'm literally wearing like tights right now. I'm wearing tights. I am pretty much ready to go. Those are pants. Well, they're technically long johns, but they're kind of like tights. I guess they're not fully tights. Today's Welsh lesson is, the Welsh for yoga is yoga, pronounced yoga. Good. Can't see the mullet in the shot. This is a problem with wearing hoodies, and it kind of obscures the mullet. I don't think Lennon would have had a mullet. Well, probably not, but he could have grown a very cool skullet, though. He was, of course, a bald king. Lululemon is nice. That's good. Skullet Lennon, exactly, Diego. That would be so cool. He could have rocked that look. I'm doing yoga. Yoga pronounced yoga too. I do Black Yogi Nico Marie classes off of YouTube. I'm going to have to look into that one as well. Expand my horizons a little bit. Yoga with Adrian, she's got a... fuck, what's her dog's name? Her dog is so chill. I can't remember what the dog... Benji? Is it Benji? Benny? Benji, yeah, okay. Yeah, the dog is very chill. I'm not a big dog person. I like dogs. I love visiting dogs. I like meeting dogs. And in fact, every time I see a dog on the street that comes up to me, I say, "Hey, Pooch." I say, "Hey, Pooch," to like every single dog. It's one of my things is I like calling random dogs Pooch. I don't think I would want to own a dog. I don't think I would like to have a dog. It just seems like a lot of responsibility. I already have a child. And it seems like a lot of responsibility, and it seems like, you could never like leave, and you got to plan around having the dog and everything. It just seems like a lot. It seems like a lot, and it's like I don't need more on my plate, more responsibility. But I do really like Yoga with Adrienne's dog, Benji. He's just very chill. He's just always kind of just relaxing and chilling out. Dogs are like kids. I have to take them to the park and stuff. Not even that, but it's like you don't have to let your kid out at like 6 a.m. to go pee outside when it's minus 20 degrees, Your kid can just pee inside. I love my pug, but she's high maintenance. Yeah, I can imagine. I love pugs too. Like I love the weirder looking a dog is, the more I'm into it. I love really weird looking dogs. And listen, Crystal, I don't want to demean your pug. And I love pugs. I think they're like so nice. I will say though that the other day I was at the park, or I was outside somewhere, and I saw someone like walking their pug, and it was just struggling to breathe. It was just going like, and I was just like, this is not, these things are not supposed to look like this. I was like, this is not good. He's not supposed to look like this. Like nature, this is against nature. This is against God. But I love them. Like, they're so cool. They're so funny, and like they're such funny little guys. Yeah, the Frenchies can't breathe either, and they're so cute. They're so cute. They're changing the breed standards to the one from the 1900s to make their snouts longer to help with that. Oh, that's interesting. I hope everyone liked my pug impression that I just did. I was actually talking to my son about this because I've been thinking about maybe getting I've considered adopting a new cat, and even that, like, I love cats as well, but it's like it's kind of been nice. I still have Momo, but I don't live with Momo, but I see Momo all the time. I take care of Momo. I bring Momo to her grooming appointments. I get her food, But I'm like, I kind of miss having a cat a little bit. I like having cats just hanging around. At the same time, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to just not have a pet, and not have like a litter box or not have any of that stuff, and not have my furniture getting all clawed up and all that business. It's kind of nice. So my kid was like a little bit against the idea of getting a cat here, but he was like, maybe we can get a dog here. And I was like, whoa. I don't know about this. Again, like, it's not going to be him. It's not going to be him going out there at 6 a.m. to give the dog a walk and let the dog pee and poo outside and stuff. That's going to be me doing that, for sure. I like cats way more than furniture. Well, that's the thing. I love cats too. I really do. I really do love cats. I am kind of tempted to get a cat, but it's at the same time, I've been kind of enjoying just not having to deal with the litter box as much, because I still do some stuff. but just not having a pet, you know, just it's been like years since I've just not had a pet. So as much as I love the animals and I love having pets, it's kind of like, yeah, this is kind of nice. It's kind of nice to not have to think about this. It's not that I lost the pet catalepsy, not to get into the details of this, but I don't live with the pet anymore. She's still alive and well, and like I said, I still see her. I take care of Momo. I bring her to her appointments. You know, just not living in the same location anymore. Momo's doing very well, though. Momo's doing very well. I love Momo. Had Momo since she was a tiny, tiny little kitten, found under a porch. She was living under a porch, just a tiny, tiny little thing. Yeah, all the vet stress, the grooming, the litter box. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, you know? It's a lot. Going bananas and breaking shit. Yeah, I mean, some of them get the zoomies or whatever. That can be frustrating. My cat is a perfect angel, says Cinnamon Challenge. What's your cat's name? Sinchal. Charlie the Maine Coon. That's nice. That's cute. That's very cute. That Biden quote is insane. Oh my god. I'm gonna let me just warm up here a little bit more, then we can talk about this. Brandon, what a guy. What natural thing are cats mimicking when they knock all your stuff off a table? I think it's just like a show of dominance, really. You know, it's not that they're mimicking something in the natural world. They're just like, they're illustrating to you like how the power dynamic in the relationship works. You know? It's not mimicking. It's just putting you in your place, really. It's just like, pick that up. You know? Pick that up. Just looking right at you. Pick it up. Pick up that can. You know, it's like the Half-Life 2 thing. Pick up the can. Yeah, and not every cat does that also. It's a common cat behavior, but it's not every cat. My favorite cat behavior is like when they have a whole like thing of water, like a water fountain or whatever. But then you have a glass of water and it's like, that's the water that I want. I don't want the water in the dish. I don't want the water in the water fountain. I want your water. And they stick their head all the way in the water thing. So it's like, you know, they go like that. We're getting some wild clips already this episode. Wow. Doing animal impressions over here. But you know that they do that though, right? I'm not making that up. It do be like that. So what else do we got? One more riffing do we have to do here? We're going to do any more riffing? Any more cat impressions that I need to be doing? Animal impressions? Yeah, I can't do it again, but it's true. With the cat ears would have been better, definitely. I've arrived. You seem strangely listless. Well, I'm just getting started. I'm just warming up here. You know, I'm on here 3-4 hours a day. You got to get on there and get the conversational juices flowing. I've just arrived and you seem strangely listless. What's happening? What's the event? I feel the need of a theme for the stream. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have much planned for today. I don't have a huge plan here. I need you to be ready to rock as soon as I log on. Okay, well, this is good. This is good info. Entertain me. I'm sitting here doing cat and dog impressions, Dick Penderin, and that's not enough for you. I've already done a humorous impression of a pug struggling to breathe, and a humorous impression of a cat sticking its head in a glass of water and trying to drink some of the water. And Dick Penderin's, that's not enough. That's not enough entertainment. That was just upsetting. Okay, well, that's fair. That is true. Satan's energy drink has yet to take hold. I showed tights. Exactly. I thought about doing yoga, but I just don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do yoga. Ugh. I'm just going to bring my plate away, get a water here, got to hydrate even more. Then we'll see where we're at. What do you mean there's no Dakadoon? There is music playing. There's absolutely music playing right now at this very moment. I'm not muted. Dakadoon's on speaker mode. Let me see what bullshit tweets I have to that I have saved here. Let's look at this Brandon clip. Here's President Brandon.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
This man is so fucking old. Look at this guy. Thank you, Brandon. I swear, this is like when someone calls you in a meeting. It's like we've been tracking your hours here, and we see that you've just been playing Fortnite for 5 hours a day. Like, yeah, am I working? No. Am I going to continue playing Fortnite every day during work hours? Yes. Am I working? No. Like, okay, good. And in that sense, they are working because it's just funneling more money to the weapons manufacturers. So it is working. Playing Fortnite during work is praxis. Yeah, I agree with that. A certified, oh my God, he admitted moment. If seriously, are they working? No. Are they going to, because they haven't stopped the Houthis? And remember all the dipshits when they started these like attacks, they started these missile strikes, all these fucking losers being like, the Houthis are about to find, they fucked around and they're about to find out. They're going to get so much freedom. I hate how people have turned that into like a meme. They're going to get so much freedom and democracy. Like that used to be a way to mock, U.S. foreign policy. And now these people have like embraced this idea. We all know that it has nothing to do with freedom and democracy. They fucked around and now they're going to find out. They're going to get so much freedom and democracy. They won't even know. And it's like, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. As usual, just like with this U.S. backed and Canada and UK backed Saudi war against Yemen and the Houthis, or Ansar Allah, just did not stop them. They defeated the Saudis. They defeated the entire imperialist war machine and became more powerful as a result. So the idea that you're going to be, oh, now the U.S. now you poked the bear, now the U.S. is going to get involved and we're really going to like destroy and it's like, no, that's not what's going to happen. No, that's not what's happening. Yeah, we in KSA killed over 300K. I think they know exactly what we were going to do. And like I said before, like what is America going to throw at them that's worse than what they've been living through for the last decade? Like we saw that interview yesterday with the Yemeni pirate guy, Tim Houthi Chalamet. You know, what are we going to, this person is someone that has grown up in this environment. He's grown up being blockaded and bombed by America and Saudi Arabia. What, it's going to really scare them to say like, you better watch out, we're going to bomb you. You better knock it off, we're going to bomb you. It's like, what, how is that going to intimidate anybody that's lived through that, that's grown up in that context, that's grown up in that environment? Yeah, just giving them more reasons to hate us. Just reaffirming everything that they believe already about what the United States' values and priorities are. Seeing this image of Brandon probably emboldens them further, and it should. Look how old and incapable he is. Like, seriously. In retrospect, he's really just such a perfect figure for this moment in American history when the decline of the American empire is just in full view of everyone. It's accelerating rapidly. So of course now you have this contest between this like rapidly mentally and physically deteriorating Zionist warmonger, and he's going to try and fend off a challenge from the openly fascist wing of the government. And is unlikely to survive. Unlikely to survive either physically or survive in terms of his administration. This is the man who's going to defend American democracy from this burgeoning kind of openly fascist wing of the capitalist class. This is the man. Is going to restore the soul of America, going to defend democracy. And libs are hyped about this man starting a multi-front war. I mean, it's just inexcusable. The way that Brandon has whatever you might have been able to say about the previous 3 years, has forever attached his legacy to the most grotesque mass bombing, mass murder, ethnic cleansing, genocidal, human rights disaster of that many of us have seen in our entire lives. That's Brandon's legacy now. That's Brandon's legacy. Joe Brandon doing his best to expose U.S. hegemony as fraudulent kind of makes me want to vote for him now. Well, that's it. I mean, it's if it wasn't clear, I think Trump really made this clear, the bankruptcy of U.S. values, Western values. Biden has just underscored that. Biden has illustrated to everyone that there's very, very minor differences between these wings of the capitalist class that control the U.S. government. You know, people say it's a two-party system. As we know, it's not a two-party system. You got one ruling class, and you have different factions of the same ruling class ideology with slightly different ways of doing things. Yes, there are differences when it comes to war, when it comes to the global South, when it comes to U.S. hegemony. There's no difference. Maybe there might be some mild differences in like strategy. You look at the Obama war on terror versus the Bush war on terror. Maybe it might look slightly different. The people in charge are the same. The people profiting are the same. The ultimate goal is the same. You know, there's no real difference. In typical Western decadence, that's right. As a liberal, I can excuse genocide, but I draw the line at not voting. Here's what Israel's doing right now. The Israeli military just blew up the University of Palestine in Gaza City with 315 mines. All the universities in Gaza have been damaged or destroyed. We need a full academic boycott. Does anyone still really, truly, honestly believe this has anything to do with Hamas? Just the fact that, like, they're not bombing this school. They're not bombing this university. The very fact that they're setting up all these mines should indicate that this is not like a combat area. There's no Hamas in this building. There's no one in this building. And they're filming themselves do it in 4K and bragging about it. You know, how is it about Hamas when you're assassinating journalists? You're just destroying the entire city, entire neighborhoods, entire residential blocks, killing tens of thousands of people. Like I said, journalists, artists, poets, painters, photographers, destroying all the health infrastructure, destroying the educational infrastructure. What does this have to do with Hamas? Don't you know universities worldwide are infested by Hamas? Well, according to that Shai Davidi fucking asshole, the Columbia guy, who's been spending the last 3 months accusing students at Columbia of being terrorist sympathizers. Remember that guy? My son! I have a son! Like, what the fuck? This is why we need to back Israel. That's why you can't stand up for Palestine. Because of my beautiful son. Like, what the fuck is with that guy? And now he's online being like, I'm being attacked every day. I'm the victim. I'm the victim of this. Me and my beautiful son. My son. That's why we've got to kill tens of thousands of little kids in Palestine. That's why. Because of my son who's not in any danger whatsoever. All these rich motherfuckers are corrupt as hell. They know all the dirt on each other. They're nothing but a bunch of hypocrites playing with people's lives. The rich around the world want total global corporate fascism and slavery and are stepping up the timeline with all these wars, coups, and genocides. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they're stepping up the timeline, Melody, because like this is a case of like this is an empire in decline. Like they're not expanding their hegemony with this conflict that they're backing fully. They're losing their grip. This is a desperate, dangerous situation where this is an empire that's on the verge of collapse or in the process of collapse and is lashing out violently around the world. And now that guy is out there saying like, yeah, he's out there being like, I need you to defend me. I need people to defend me. I'm being attacked. I'm being attacked all the time. For the mere crime of accusing student groups at the school that I teach at of being terrorist sympathizers and terrorists. Look at this absolute loser. This guy has spent the last 3 months accusing Columbia students who support Palestine of being terrorist sympathizers. Using his son as like some kind of like using his son to shield himself from any criticism or any accountability. This may be too vulnerable of me, but I really need your help. The internet mob either forgot that I'm a human being or they just don't care. Like, this man is doing everything within his power to justify and support the mass murder of little children, talking about forgetting people are human beings. This man, Shai Davidai, supports the mass murder of little children. This man, he supports the Israeli government's ability to drop white phosphorus onto little kids. And he has the goddamn audacity of talking about the internet mob either forgot that I'm a human being or they just don't care. Either way, their personal attacks are too much for me. I can't do this on my own. Please have my back. Don't let them silence me. Like, is there something about these, like, really, like, obsessive supporters of Israel that they just have to be the biggest cowards in the entire world? Like, they're just it's so pathetic. It's pathetic. Tens of thousands of people have been killed. Tens of thousands of people have been killed. This man has spent every moment suggesting that anyone at his school that supports Palestinians is a terrorist or terrorist sympathizer. And now he's saying, "Now I'm the victim. I'm being victimized by people saying mean things to me online." It is absolutely pathetic. I've spent the last 3 months advocating for Israel's ability to just kill tens of thousands of little kids with total impunity. But people have said, because of that, people have said mean and hurtful things to me. And I'm the victim. Or that Stranger Things kid, Noah Shap or whatever. Now that they're filming the new season, he's out there being like, "Oh, my words were misconstrued. My words were misconstrued." They weren't misconstrued. This guy, in the opening stage of this conflict, was making stickers that said Zionism is sexy and was handing them out and said, "You either stand with me or you're with Hamas and you're with terrorists. If you don't support Israel, you support terrorism." That's not being misconstrued. And again, since that time now, tens of thousands of people have been killed. And like Melanie is pointing out, that's just the last 3 months, to say nothing of what the last 80 years of this Zionist settler colonial project has meant to people. And you had that other dipshit comedian saying, in fact, let's watch the Noah thing. We might as well just watch it while we're talking about it. What's his name? Is it Noah Schnapp?
Guys, it's Noah. Hey guys, it's Noah. I just wanted to come on here super briefly just to discuss everything that's been going on online. I feel like my thoughts and beliefs have been so far misconstrued from anything even close to what I believe. And I wanted to just state from my heart how I feel.
The angle is really weird.
Want peace and safety and security for all innocent people affected by this conflict. I've had many open discussions with friends from Palestinian background, and I think those are very important conversations to have, and I've learned a lot. And one of the takeaways I've had is that we all hope for the same things, that being those innocent people still being held hostage in Gaza to be returned to their families, and equally hope for an end to the loss of innocent life in Palestine. So many of those people being
So he's
women
still blaming this whole. He's still be like, release the hostages and then the killing stops. I support the ending of this conflict and protecting all these innocent people. And as soon as Hamas just gives these hostages back, then the killing will stop. Easy, and I support that.
children, and it's horrible to see. And I think anyone with any ounce of humanity would hope for an end to the hostility on both sides. I stand against any killing of any innocent people, and I hope you guys all do too. And I just hope to one day see those two groups be able to live harmoniously together in that region, and I hope for 2024 online to see people be a little more understanding and compassionate and recognize that
we
we're
need to
all
be compassionate to Hollywood
regardless
stars.
Of our race, of our ethnicity, of our background, of our country of birth, of our even our sexuality, of anything. We are all human and we're all the same.
I think everyone should be nicer to
We
me.
should all love each other for that.
The
and
star of
support
a
each other
popular
and
TV
stand
series.
together, and stand together for humanity and for peace.
He's the star of Stranger Things, and I guess he's like the main person in the new season, apparently, that they're doing. Hey, man, Brett Gelman supported this guy. Well, I want to look at Brett Gelman's comments as well. Brett Gelman, who's actually been one of the most unhinged people since this started. Noah Schnapp's Stranger Things co-star Brett Gelman says Noah didn't need to apologize for his comments on Israel and Palestine. I saw nothing wrong. He held up a sticker saying Zionism is sexy. Zionism is the belief that Israel should exist, and that's sexy for me too, is what he said. Let's look at that one more time. Zionism is the belief that Israel should exist. And that is just not true. That is a totally false description of what Zionism means. And the Zionists who showed up in 1949 to kill hundreds of people and ethnically cleanse these villages in the initial foundation of the country, that's the banner that they were doing under. That was the ideology that they were doing that under. There is no such thing as Zionism. There's no such thing as Israel that isn't completely dependent on apartheid, on dispossession and theft, exploitation, and murder of Palestinians. It's completely inseparable, these two things. There's no, Zion. It just means that we think Israel should exist. The only way that Israel does exist is by stealing land from Palestinians, from denying them the right to return to their homes or where their families are from, by maintaining an apartheid state, by keeping people in Gaza in a prison camp, by routinely bombing people in Gaza over and over and over the years, and controlling their food and water and medical supplies and other supplies that they get. That's Zionism. There's no nice version of it. There's no nice version of Zionism that's just, we just think we should be able to all live here and be neighbors with one another. If that was the case, they would support a one-state solution in which Palestinians and Israelis all had the same democratic rights and were just living together as neighbors. They don't support that, though. They do not support that. There's no nice version of Zionism that doesn't involve the theft, the murder, the exploitation, the ethnic cleansing, the racism. It's just completely this fantasy version of events. I just wish, or like what Noah Schnapp was just saying, I just wish everyone could all live together in peace and harmony. Well, that's not what people in Israel want. We listen to them. Is that what the people in Israel that climb to the top of the hilltop and set up lounge chairs and have drinks and snacks while they watch Gaza getting bombed? Do they just want everyone to live in peace? The people that are going in there and just stealing people's homes and then like saying like, if I didn't steal your home, someone else is going to steal it. Do they just want to live side by side in peace and harmony? The Israelis that overwhelmingly support what is happening currently in Gaza, the Israelis that we saw talking to Abby Martin in that famous clip, saying we just need to get rid of all the Arabs, you know? Do they just want to live peacefully side by side in harmony? They don't. Look at the genocide case against Israel right now in South Africa. A big part of that case is based entirely on statements being made by prominent Israeli officials. So this whole idea, you can't simultaneously support Israel, support Zionism, and then saying, I just want peace for everybody. Oh, I just want peace for everyone on all sides. These things they're mutually exclusive. They're totally contradictory. Oh, I just want everyone to live in peace. Look at this insane clip. This keeps happening. With little to no media coverage, Israeli occupation forces have stolen several corpses from a cemetery in Khan Yunis. If you support Zionism, if you say things like Zionism is sexy, Zionism is just believing that Israel has a right to exist, this is what you support. Like blowing up the university in Gaza, mining the university in Gaza and blowing that up, blowing up all these cultural artifacts, mass murdering journalists and artists, poets, writers, destroying any educational or academic infrastructure, medical infrastructure. That's Zionism. It's a fantasy version. It's a fantasy version that sometimes these people seem to hold on to, where Zionism is just about Israel's right to exist and it's about peace. It's completely inseparable. No, robbing graves and bulldozing people's homes is not sexy. Erasing all traces of Palestinians living there, even they're dead. Here we have Israel's top spokesperson threatening a news anchor.
We're talking about more than 24,000 people killed.
President, the civilian casualties.
That's an extraordinary number of civilian casualties.
And it's tragic. And it's tragic, President, everyone who has been killed since October 7th would still be alive if Hamas had not declared war. If Hamas were not fighting this war from densely populated areas, and no one else would be hurt.
Yes, but this
if
didn't
Hamas
start on October the 7th
and laid down
in their
its
terms,
arms.
did it?
You're right.
You know, you can say this would not have happened had October the 7th not happened. They would say October the 7th wouldn't have happened had Israel not occupied Gaza in the first place.
I would be very wary of trying in any way to contextualize the atrocities of October 7th.
I'm explaining what they would say. I'm not contextualizing.
Or else what?
I'm saying occasional misdemeanors. We're talking.
See the tone? That's actually a really, really interesting clip, isn't it? Because the tone changed instantly from the small bean tone to the I'm actually threatening you tone, right? It changed on a dime. Oh, the atrocities of October 7th. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And then immediately I would be very wary of trying to contextualize, trying to contextualize something. Like, no, don't add context to anything that you're saying about this moment. It was a tragedy that happened in a vacuum. It was just this wave of mass murder and rape, and that's all it is. Don't add any context to it. And instantly the tone switches to this like threatening tone. I'd be very wary of looking at the truth. Like, that's really a remarkable clip. It's like switching on a dime between the two different strategies, the two different faces of Zionism. We're the poor victimized settlers that are just trying to find a home for ourselves, and everyone's against us and everyone hates us, to, you better watch what the fuck you're saying. Instantly.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Couldn't think of anything clever to say.
Doc, thank you very much for 27 months. Resub at tier 2. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate it. I hope everything's going well, Doc. The entire history demands that only one side be allowed to contextualize. That's right. Only one side is allowed to have context and historical context. Only one side is allowed to have an army.
So some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Surfer McGritty, thanks for the raid. Thank you, Surfer McGritty. Welcome. Welcome in. This really is a remarkable clip, I thought. Weirdly enough, it reminds me of the lib in Central Park with the bird watcher. The moment she was challenged, the mask came right off. That's right. It's like there's elements of that like liberal mask slippage, and the way this liberal mask of like progressivism can be dropped at a moment's notice. That's a really remarkable clip, honestly. So not only should we not provide any context to what happened on October 7th, we certainly shouldn't talk at all about how many of the casualties on October 7th were inflicted by the IDF. Not only should we not have any historical context for why that happened in the first place, but we definitely shouldn't have any kind of context or investigation into what role the IDF played in engaging in friendly fire and killing their own people, of which there's so much reporting already that has proven at the very least that they played a sizable role in inflating those casualty numbers. You're not supposed to ask the IDF any questions whatsoever. They were holding the UN investigators at gunpoint the other day. Yeah, I mean, and as we saw with like the CNN thing, like you have CNN's journalism is like being run through the IDF, and they determine what can go on TV and what doesn't. Just like Nord Stream, I'm sure there's going to be a full investigation and the truth will come out. Yeah, or just like Shireen Abu Akleh and when she was killed. And Biden and Blinken said, we're very concerned about this. We're very concerned about this. We're going to investigate this right away. What happened with that? And Shireen was murdered prior to October 7th, if we remember as well. And her funeral was attacked by the IDF prior to October 7th. And remember, it's all about the hostages, right? It's about protecting the hostages. We've already looked at stories of like hostages, Israeli hostages, unarmed, waving white flags, being shot by the IDF, right? Being shot and killed by the IDF. We got this story as well. Mother of Israeli hostage accuses army of poisoning her son to death. The Israeli army yesterday informed the families of prisoners of war Ron Sherman, Nick Beiser, and Elia Toledano. Well, all Western names anyway, the first two. Ron and Nick. That it is not possible to determine what caused their deaths. IDF representatives arrived at the families of the kidnapped soldiers in order to inform them of the findings regarding the circumstances of their deaths in Hamas captivity. On Tuesday, there's more to this story. You can read it yourself if you want. I can put the link in the chat. On Tuesday, Ron Sherman's mother accused the army of mistakenly killing her son. The results of the investigation: Ron was indeed murdered, not by Hamas. Think more in the direction of Auschwitz and the showers, but without Nazis and without Hamas as the cause. No accidental shooting, no report, premeditated murder, bombings with poisonous gases, she said. According to her, and this is the mother of one of the hostages. This is not a Palestinian. This is not like this is not some pro-Hamas person. This is a mother of one of the hostages who people like these fucking Hollywood actors claim are the cause of all this and who would be returned and the conflict would end tomorrow. According to her, the Israeli army filled the tunnel in which he was held with gas and her son was poisoned to death. The mother claimed that they found he also had several crushed fingers, apparently due to his desperate attempts to get out of the poison grave that the IDF buried in him when he tried to breathe air, but he only breathed IDF poison. And on the flip side of that, on the flip side of that, Ohanda Mondir was released after being detained in Gaza and explains what he learned from Hamas. A settler child who was detained and released from Gaza. They taught me how to say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illa Allah. There's no God except Allah, Allah Akbar. It was a fun experience, by the way, he says. And we've already seen dozens of clips now of hostages being released. We heard the DAP heard round the world. We've seen dozens of clips now of hostages being released. And like showing affection towards the people that are releasing them. The guy dapping the guy up, the woman touching him and saying, thank you, shukran.
סובחנללה, אלחמדולillah, אילי, לילה, אללהו אכבר.
למדת קצת ערבית בשבי?
קצת.
איזה מילים למשל?
חייר.
מה זה?
מלפפון.
והברכה הזאת עם זה...
מס בחה?
התפילה...
השרשרת המסורתית שלהם, מס בחה קוראים לזה.
מס בחה?
כן, השרשרת שעושים ככה. והם מתפללים, אז הם אמרו לי איך להגיד.
See the last part? DAP, you mean the terrorist fist jab. That's right, yeah. Absolutely. We got a new Claire Danes. Sorry, not Claire Danes. It would be funny if Claire Danes was like an outspoken anti-Israel advocate. We got a new Claire Daly clip just dropped. Let's check in with that.
This resolution because I voted against this resolution because...
So just to context, She says the resolution passed by the European Parliament today on Gaza is not a, quote, call for permanent ceasefire. It's an open-ended license for genocide.
Against this resolution, because what was initially a mealy-mouthed call for a ceasefire has been turned on its head thanks to the amendment put forward by the EPP and shamefully supported by 5 Irish MEPs. The text that was passed now calls for a ceasefire on precisely the same preconditions as Benjamin Netanyahu has demanded. Dismantling Hamas and the unconditional release of hostages. Without that, the killing continues. This is Israel's pretext for genocide, plain and simple, adopted by the European Parliament. For 3 months now, we have cheered on and provided cover for Israel as it has exterminated thousands of children. And today voted to reject a call to halt the arms trade, a trade with the illegal settlements. It's rejected the call to suspend the EU-Israel Association Agreement, to use it as leverage to end the violations, reject supporting South Africa's case, while sanctioning Iran and Qatar, but not Israel. This is utter lunacy and absolute disgrace.
Man, you know, it's just... I think when we're so used to seeing people make this kind of advocacy in this kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, this apologetic way, and trying to frame everything in a way that makes the least people mad. Like, this is what we're used to seeing from progressive people in Canada and the United States. They might even take a forced or attempt to make a kind of forceful stance about something, but they're still accepting all the framing. They're accepting the framing of how Israel describes these things. They're doing it in this very like kind of like progressive way to try and like limit the blowback. I really do love seeing people speak about this with zero effort to engage in that kind of bullshit whatsoever. Zero effort to close the scope of the criticism or soften the rhetoric or any of that stuff. Just zero effort to do that. It's really incredible to see. I would say they don't only care about the hostages, they absolutely made the conscious decision to kill them. Every released hostage so far, except for the Palestinian kid didn't share his candy lady, was an absolute PR disaster for them, and they absolutely don't want any free Palestinian prisoner. Worth pointing out as well that like that interview took place after this release and after this person probably had some contact with people in the Israeli government, Mossad, whatever, what have you. You know, I think a lot of, you know, you relate it back to North Korean defectors and when they escape North Korea and they go into this facility where they talk with South Korean intelligence and armed and protected by the CIA, and they get their stories straight, and it becomes clear to them that they must describe like the worst things that they can imagine when they talk about this. I think there's some similarities there. Yeah, I think honestly, Carrier Wave, you say Justin Potter thinks it's mass Hannibal doctrine being applied. I think that's what it is. I think that's what you saw a lot on that day, and you've seen it since that day as well. The hostages, as we've pointed out many times, are way more valuable to Israel dead than being released and being like, no, I was treated okay. Like I've said before, I don't think it's nice to be taken hostage. I don't think it's nice to be kidnapped and taken to Gaza and brought into a war zone. I don't think that's a pleasant experience. And I think anyone that's released from this situation has said things to that effect. But at the same time saying like, I was treated with respect. I got food and medicine, you know. And the one person that had that interview was talking about, it was like I was being sexually assaulted, even though I wasn't, pretty much. And someone's kid offered me candy and then took it away. Hello, Crackety Kraken. How's it going? I wonder if I could get Claire Daly to come on here.
I voted against this.
That would be interesting if I could. Let me see what else we have here. And look, and plenty, as we're talking about that kind of mass Hannibal thing, either on that day of October 7th or afterwards. According to this investigation from Yediot Achronat, I don't know how to do the pronunciation, Israel ordered all combat units on 7th October to stop Palestinian fighters from returning to Gaza with captives, quote, at all costs. This was in order to, quote, to use the Hannibal procedure, although without clearly mentioning this explicit name. About 70 vehicles were shot by a combat helicopter, an anti-tank missile, or a tank, and at least in some cases, everyone in the vehicle was killed. It is not clear at this time how many of the abductees were killed due to the activation of this command. This was last week. The order, this is from Israeli media, prevent terrorists from returning to Gaza at all costs, even if they have hostages with them. Investigating the chaos in the early hours of October 7th, confused orders, pilots who had no one to direct them to attack terrorists, and in order to shoot all vehicles returning to Gaza, despite the fear that they may contain hostages. Insanity. And remember the guy, like a few minutes ago, we looked at the clip. Don't have any context. Don't add it. Don't contextualize the atrocities of October 7th. Don't contextualize it, and certainly don't talk about this aspect of it. Let's see actually if Electronic Intifada has anything that we can take a look at. I'm sure they do. They've been doing these live streams pretty often. I would just like to take a brief moment to remind folks to please subscribe to the show if you can. If you enjoy the show that I do every single day on here, if you appreciate the commentary, if you appreciated the coverage that I've done of this ongoing situation over the last couple of months now, the only way that I'm able to keep doing this show is if people subscribe through the generosity of the community members. That's the only way that I'm able to keep doing the show each and every day is if people subscribe, and I make the little number go up at the bottom of the screen. You know the deal. You know how it works. So if you can, please subscribe. It's $4.99 per month. It's totally free of charge if you have an Amazon Prime account, which you can convert to a Twitch Prime sub very easily. You can also give bits. You can gift subs. You can give tips, which are really valuable to me right now, using the tip function through Stream Elements. Every little bit helps. It's the only way that I'm able to keep doing this show. I absolutely love doing this show each and every day. It's a huge something that I'm very, very proud of, this show and this community. I really do appreciate that I have the ability to come on here and talk about this stuff every day. So if you can, please support the show with a sub or a gifted sub or a donation. Every little bit really, really helps me out. It helps me keep this show on the air. And I appreciate it really a whole lot anytime that anyone can support this show. I'm just finding some video content to throw on here. This is quite long. 2 hour and 20-minute video. That's probably a little bit too long.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Crackety Kraken, thanks so much for the 5 gifted subs. Very much appreciated, Crackety Kraken. Thank you for that. And if anyone else does want to support the show, it's very much appreciated. You can subscribe, you can gift subs, and if you do gift over 5 subs, such as 5 subs or over, such as what Crackety Kraken did just now, that makes you instantly an elite member of the Friendship Triangle system. That's Twitch's only 2-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down cloud-tiered reward system. Instantly become an elite member. What a great opportunity that is. And yeah, I saw Abby and Rania and Katie did a show. That could be good to look at as well. Let's take a look at that. I don't know if we have an opportunity to watch the entire thing, but this seems like a really cool event at the People's Forum with a couple of friends of the show, Abby Martin, Rania Kalik, and Claudia De La Cruz, who we don't know, but Katie also is a friend. Let's take a look at that. She's the PSL candidate, right?
Oh, red wine. Oh, that's gonna stink. Yeah. They got us red wine. And water.
What's up, guys?
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to the People's Forum for hosting us. Thank you to, give them a...
Yeah. Woo, we love the People's Forum.
Yeah.
Best space in New York.
Yes. And thank you to Breakthrough News and
I really
the
want a
Empire
People's
Files
Forum
and the
in
Katie
Montreal.
Halper Show for co-sponsoring this event. So we're going to get this show started. I'm going to introduce the lovely ladies sitting next to me. To the left, not politically, just physically, we have Abby Martin.
But also politically.
No, but I'm not saying she's to the left of us.
Oh, no,
she's
no,
on the
okay,
left.
yeah,
Spoiler alert, she's on the left, yeah.
Oopsies.
So on the left,
Ultra leftist.
equally.
I haven't even had wine yet.
I know. Equally on the left as us is Abby Martin, who is the host and producer of the Empire Files. She's also the director of the amazing documentary Gaza Fights for Freedom.
Thank you so much.
And the forthcoming documentary, Earth's Greatest Enemy. Earth's Greatest Enemy. Okay, there you go. There you have it. Which I can't wait to see. And then to my right, physically but not politically, is Rania Kalik, who is the host of
Joe, thank you.
Dispatches.
Joe, thank you for the 333.
Why do the French only have one egg for breakfast? Because one egg is enough.
Oh. Oof. Oh my God, Joe. I appreciate it, but oh my goodness.
With Breakthrough News with Eugene Purrier, and she is a journalist based in Beirut.
Woo, yay Beirut.
And of course,
C'est
the
pas
great Katie Halper, host of the Katie Halper Show, host of Useful Idiots, and the upcoming documentary, Commie Camp, which I can't wait to see.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for braving the snow to come out here in
Yeah,
this packed house.
seriously.
We are truly honored to.
I've really got to get Katie and Rania
So
on
I
the show.
thought first I wanted to ask you, Rania, more than anyone else here, If
Let's
you
get serious.
Yeah, let's get serious
Let's
for
get
a
serious.
second. Like, we're going to be
I'm ready.
joking around, but we should
Bring
be
it.
serious.
Yeah.
So before starting, of course, I need you to condemn Hamas. Will you? Will
Hamas
each and
is
every
actually one of the
you
sponsors.
condemn Hamas?
All together.
We're not going to start condemn Hamas. Yeah, we can't do the show until
can't
each
start,
and every
you
one
guys.
Instead of a,
condemns.
Everyone has to.
that's
we
the
have
thing.
to walk.
Instead of a land acknowledgement, it's the official ritualistic Hamas condemnation. Man, I'm nervous for this live show on Saturday. It's going to be really great stuff, but I'm scared. I got to say, I'm scared. The obligatory Hamas condemnation. That's right.
Now, it's the law.
It might take 2 hours, but I mean, this
but
isn't
we're
necessary.
fine. If that has to be
It's
what the entire
obligatory.
show is dedicated to, that's okay.
What's happening on Saturday? On Saturday, there's an event. Bree, there's an event right here in Montreal. It's the very first Harbinger Media soapbox series. It's called News Sucks, We Know. It's right here in Montreal with my friends and colleagues, Nashwa Lena Khan and Paris Marks. It's this Saturday. If you're in Montreal or the Montreal area, please come if you can. It's at Lennox, in Centre Saint-Jacques. It's in the basement of St. Jacques Cathedral, 1439 St. Catherine West. This Saturday, $15. There's going to be all kinds of really great stuff as well. There's like a Palestinian youth movement is going to be there. Nashwa has organized so much crazy stuff. There's going to be like a bake sale and people like selling all kinds of cool stuff and art and posters and shit like that. It's going to be really, really cool. And we're going to talk about Canadian media and how much it's awful and, kind of talking a little bit about our ideas about how to make things better and how, it's going to be a really good evening. Really looking forward to that. That's this Saturday. If you're around Montreal, try to make it to the Toronto one. That's fair. Hopefully that can maybe be in the summer. After this, we'll start working on the next one. But it's going to be really great stuff. So if you're watching this and you're in Montreal or you're nearby, please try and make it out. It's going to be really fantastic stuff. And I am nervous, but I know it's going to be fine.
All right. Okay, great.
Yes.
Condemn the mainstream media.
Great
Good.
answer.
By the way, someone's phone is going off, which is fine, but it's a good reminder to shut your phones off, please. That sounded very taskmasterly. So let's see. There's
I like
so
Rania's
much
jacket.
terrible news out there, right? I think we wanted to start off with something positive.
That's very cool.
So let's take a look at Yemen. So it's saying make it a major war. We don't care.
Yeah, they seem really intimidated by the freedom and democracy that America's sending. They seem really intimidated. I'm sure they're going to knock it off now. Make it a major war. We don't care.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I think they're mad at someone.
Yeah.
I think they're angry with someone.
I've had Katie on the podcast before, Max, but never on the show. But I've been in touch with her about doing it. So, and with Abby as well. So
This was a way to welcome in 2024.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
So Happy New Year, everyone.
make it a major war. We don't care. Yeah, no, I'm sure your little bombing campaign is gonna do really
This was a
well.
massive rally after the United States of America bombed Yemen for the first time. And we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We're going to get to that. But that's actually pretty serious.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I don't think they're deterred either.
We don't care.
Yeah. Well, that's where the Middle East is at.
Right.
They're like, we don't care. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good times.
Yeah.
All right.
Great start to the new year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Great start to the new year. So we're actually going to talk a little bit, obviously, about Israel. We're going to talk about the genocide case that South Africa brought against them to the International Court of Justice. And
It won't work and we won't
not
stop.
everyone
Great.
agrees that
Yeah.
There is a genocide there.
Great. Can't you slap that on a bumper sticker?
Genocide or not. It's going to be really, really heated debate. It's interesting that Israel even claims that there isn't a genocide because Israelis say it so overtly. Like they say the quiet part out loud. They're actually doing South Africa a favor. They've been doing South Africa a favor in making its case by actually creating the genocidal intent, making the genocidal intent, which is required to make the case for genocide, making that so clear. But here is John Kirby of the National Security
Boo,
Council.
sorry.
Boo.
Here he is. He's going to try to convince you that there isn't a genocide. And, of course, what I did is I made a little mashup between John Kirby and this montage that Five Pillars Media had made.
Kirby is one of the biggest ghouls in the administration, maybe the biggest.
This is the same guy who cried crocodile tears for Ukrainian kids, right?
Yeah.
Only for Ukrainian kids.
Only white children.
And no, he's upset about Israeli children and
Okay,
Ukrainian
yeah,
children,
yeah.
but when it comes to Palestinian children, it's a war that happens.
Also, he's like a crisis
just
actor.
happens.
You can hire him to cry or not.
Also,
Depends who the highest bidder is.
He also uses filler.
Yeah, he definitely has cheek filler.
Yeah, he has
I'm
cheek
convinced.
filler.
I live in Lebanon. I know what cheek filler looks
Yeah,
like.
exactly. Yeah. So she can vouch for it. That's why we brought her all the way from Lebanon to vouch for that. Yeah. Yeah. So let's take a look at John Kirby, and then on the other side, because we want to be fair and balanced, let's take a look at what Israelis actually say.
Thrown around in a pretty inappropriate way by lots of different folks.
Fake Tanner
Israel
too, huh?
is not trying to wipe the Palestinian people off the map.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק, הצטווינו. אנו זוכרים ואנו נלחמים.
Seems like a sane person.
Yeah. That looks like a thug.
It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
Israel's not trying to wipe Gaza off the map.
They say it in English.
אין
John
חשמל,
Kirby.
אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
עזה לא תחזור להיות מה שהייתה וחמאס לא יהיה. חסר את הכל.
We will eliminate everything.
And look, think about the footage we watched earlier of the university being blown up, mined and blown up, not bombed.
Energy in one thing, erasing all of Gaza from
Blown
the face
up
of
by
the
teams
earth.
of
As
engineers.
remember, the Gaza monsters will fly to the southern fence and try to enter Egyptian territory. They will die. Nuking Gaza is an option. Use doomsday weapons against Gaza.
Very healthy society here.
Israel's trying to defend itself against a genocidal terrorist threat. So when if we're going to start using that word,
I think there's something uniquely. He's like so American. This John Kirby. He looks like a game show host. Like he looks like an actual game show host, right? Like you could see him holding that Bob Barker, like that long thin mic, you know, and like trying to get people to bid on like dining sets or whatever. Yeah, he looks like the president in a 90s action movie. That's a good way of looking at it. Like he looks like a parody. He looks like a parody of what like a grotesque American frontman for a violent war machine would look and act like. Yeah, he's a Verhoeven NPC for sure. Further proof that we're just living in Verhoeven world now, permanently. We're just trapped in Verhoeven world. Like Richard Dawson in Running Man. There it is, yeah. That's not Verhoeven, but that's a very kind of Verhoeven-esque vision for reality.
if we're going to start using that word, fine, let's use it appropriately.
All right, man.
All right.
How has no one thrown a shoe at him yet?
I know.
I'm not
An
advocating
entire
it.
dresser, an entire wardrobe or more, yeah. So what do you guys think? Let's vote. Genocide or not genocide? Anyone in the room? Genocide? Okay, yeah. All right.
Two hands.
Well, what's
That's
crazy,
that's a double vote.
What's crazy is there's so many clips we would
Yeah,
take literally like
that's-
a week to watch them all. But I remember when Netanyahu said they love using telegenically dead kids. The more dead, the better.
This was in 2018.
This
right?
was during the Great March of Return, and then Naftali Bennett said they're committing self-genocide. So at least he admitted it, right?
Naftali
they're
Bennett
just doing
in
it to
that same
themselves.
clip you're talking about also added that in every house, and not just Palestinian, like Arab homes, Lebanon and Palestine, they have a kitchen, a bedroom, and a
missile
rocket
room.
launching room. I didn't get one with my apartment. I didn't get a rocket launching room. I'm kind of a.
How can you?
I think Rania should have a rocket launching room.
Like, don't you have a one bedroom?
Yeah, no, I have. That's more than one.
Oh, okay.
But
So
I
you
don't
could
have
have a rocket launcher.
Yeah, but
you might as well invest
come
in
with
one.
the
Right,
house.
it
Like
can
I have to
come, yeah.
make it myself.
Yeah.
Right. It must have been
I support Rania's ability to have a rocket launching room. I think Rania should have a rocket launcher.
Yeah. Well, we again want to be fair and balanced, and we let you hear from John Kirby, but then I think we just debunked his claims.
Give
But
Rania
someone
a
else
rocket
thinks that
launching
there isn't a
room.
genocide right now, and that man is the.
He's the epitomization of like progressivism. So it's a little awkward, you know. Like
Rania
he's
Khalek has the right
really
to defend
hardcore
herself. That's
progressive,
right.
So it's like,
And we're talking about none other than should have been Dr. Oz, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
Great crowd. I love it.
Fighting. It's a group of cowards. They hide in tunnels. They hide behind civilians. They attack, kill, and mutilate children, women,
Israel.
And they do that.
Israel's doing that right
Stop
now.
talking about proportion.
Mutilating children. Like, how many fucking children have we seen being mutilated?
And they would have taken more lives if they couldn't do that, but they couldn't do it. And now let's also talk about that. Now we're talking about genocide. And now South Africa is bringing that kind of a trial. Maybe South Africa maybe ought to sit this one out when they're talking about criticizing.
You live in Pennsylvania,
he's
sir.
a horrible public speaker. Is it just me?
So
we're hearing. Whoa.
So, spoiler alert, little teaser.
Oopsies.
Like, why should he says that as if like the government of South Africa right now just committed a genocide?
He's
like,
a white farmer genocide guy. He's one of those guys. Yeah.
The white farmers.
The white farmer. Yeah.
I mean, obviously South Africa knows what apartheid is.
I
So
don't know.
they
I don't
have.
know.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
true.
I think John Fetterman knows.
Yeah, John Fetterman knows what it is because he probably likes it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who else should sit this one out? Because
Who?
he was saying that South Africa should sit
Right.
this one out, and it reminded me of how Germany.
Oh yeah.
Was like, hey, we're gonna intervene legally to help Israel in the genocide case.
Well, they are genocide experts, so
They
I'm
are.
torn because I feel like they're actually really experienced when it comes to that. So.
Yeah, don't listen to South Africa about this. Listen to Germany. Like, do we hear
Germany
ourselves?
should have to carve out like a piece of land for a Jewish state.
Yeah, me too.
Like from Like they should have to.
Yeah.
I mean, they started.
Can we have
it,
Berlin
right?
though?
Like,
I've heard Berlin's really cool.
I've heard Berlin's really cool. It's supposed to be very cool. Unless a lot of Israelis they moved to.
Oh, it is.
Germans are so compassionate and so guilty about what happened in the Holocaust. I'm sure they would volunteer to leave. They would just volunteer all their homes.
You created, and what I loved so much is then Namibia was like, excuse me? You're
Yeah.
gonna what? And they were like, the presidency in Namibia released a statement, and they were like, we don't think Germany should be allowed to speak on this, considering they've never apologized for the genocide they committed in Namibia, which was like the OG German genocide.
Right.
Which we're not apparently we're not allowed to talk about because of the Holocaust.
Germany loves genocide. Like, we should expect nothing less because they've historically and consistently, West Germany. We should say West Germany if like we have our East Germans here at all, and they're like upset and
Safe
offended.
space. This is a safe space for East
Yeah,
Germans.
safe space for East Germans. But no, they've like historically always been on the side of genocide, so I guess we should expect nothing less.
Yeah, they only want to atone for the white genocide, right?
Yeah, that was long before Nazi
Been
Germany.
erasure of the Namibia genocide
Yeah.
because the Jewish genocide has taken up the spotlight. So it's time to highlight the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Again, as we
But
said.
honestly, how disgusting is John Fetterman?
Yeah. Bringing it back to the
wrong
important
with
thing.
him?
No, that's true. Yeah.
If I see one more goddamn comment from that monster about hostage posters,
I wish
I'm
I
gonna
had
lose my
volunteered for
mind.
Dr. Oz. Seriously. Makes me wish I had.
He's a stroke survivor, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Look
saying.
at the sigh from Katie
Everybody
Alper.
liked him because they were like, oh, he's a stroke survivor.
Right.
And he's like the working class, and he's like so
Yeah.
progressive. And I
But
was like,
he's like
yeah,
a
he
nut-
sounds
he-
cool. And then he was like, I love genocide. And I was like, never
But
mind.
he's also like a nepo baby. He's like a rich kid. Like he was
Went
like
to Harvard.
basically just became mayor or something.
He's a fake working class like hoodie guy.
By wearing
By
sloppy,
wearing
sloppy
just
clothes.
basketball shorts.
You went to Harvard and you wear hoodie and basketball shorts.
Yeah.
As a
yeah,
working
yeah,
class.
totally.
Okay.
I guess, yeah. But you know, it reminds me of, did you guys see that movie, Everyone Says I Love You, by problematic Woody Allen?
Oh, God.
So there's this subplot in it where like there's a Democratic, like Upper East Side Democrat family, and they have a son who's a Republican, and they're really ashamed. And then at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, they find out he had a brain tumor, and that explains why he's a Republican.
Does it involve Woody Allen fucking like a 15-year-old
No,
girl?
I mean maybe in the background, but
It's a
I'm
biography?
just saying, when you mentioned the stroke
It's an
thing.
autobiography of Woody Allen. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
Sorry.
basically all wet dream for him always.
But no. In all seriousness though, and in real like legit seriousness, like Israel is committing a horrific genocide against. Well, it's an ongoing one, but they've really scaled up the genocide against Palestinians, and I think there's a lot of like background behind that. That Abby knows something about.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, I mean it is a very historic case. This is actually an amazing thing to finally, after all of these decades, 75 years of oppression, ethnic cleansing, occupation, bombing with impunity, finally Israel's crimes are being heard in international court, and that is amazing. That's amazing.
Regardless of the outcome.
And this is regardless of the outcome, and I think the case is so clear-cut. There's no way to question the evidence put forward, and so really it's just going to be the legitimacy of the court at this point.
That's why Israel's only defense is to be like a horrific narcissistic, like collective narcissism where they're just like gaslighting everyone. They're like, we are killing all Palestinians because we hate them, but also we're protecting civilians, and you're just like, what?
Well, yeah, they're like trying to use their entire case, right, at the ICJ was saying how much the Palestinians wanted to kill them, which that's not a legal defense. You can't use genocide as a self-defense, which is kind of what they're implying and trying to suggest, even if that were the truth, which it's not.
Even if all the lies Israel has told in the last almost 4 months now, even if every single lie was true, and when I say lie, I mean like all caps, like 40 beheaded babies, all of the disgusting racist claims they've made about like the disgusting Browns came just to rape all our white women, which is like a historically racist smear against anyone brown and black to just call them all rapists of white women. And we should all like emphasize that that's a racist claim to make if you don't have any evidence. On top of that, like,
and they don't have any evidence except secondhand
they blame Hamas
accounts.
for killing everyone when it's like their own media says that they bombed their own people. Even if every horrific claim they've made about what they say Hamas did on October 7th, even if all of it were true, nothing justifies genocide. Nothing justifies killing babies, like 10,000 babies.
And
nothing
remember Fetterman.
justifies that.
Fetterman, just in that clip that they're reacting to. They mutilated little children as he's advocating for Israel's right to continually mutilate far, far more little children. And again, dropping white phosphorus on little children. And John Fetterman saying, they mutilated little children. Like, it's just unbelievable.
And, you know, I asked someone this today. I was like, how many babies is acceptable for you? Because she kept saying, but October 7th, but Hamas, but they killed these people, but
What's
they
the
killed
number
those people.
of dead
And
kids
it's
that's going to make you feel better about it?
What is the threshold for you? Is there ever enough Palestinian
dead
babies?
kids?
Like, yeah, it's unbelievable that people think that they're going to convince anyone that what Israel's doing is okay because of something that happened on October 7th. And I just think that, you know, it's just very easy to say, for me at least, like, there's literally nothing you could tell me about October 7th. Nothing that I could find out about October 7th that would justify what Israel's doing.
Right, especially that article that came out in 972 Mag about Israel's assassination factory, how like Israeli intelligence officers admitted on record that we know every person in every building. We know if there's a 3-year-old girl, and we calculate that. And we methodically go through and take out these targets. And so everything is justified and rationalized. They know every kid who's being blown to bits.
You know, so like having grown up in this country as the child of Middle Eastern immigrants, like in the United States of America. I'm so sorry to Americans who aren't U.S. that I just said that. I know someone's rolling their eyes at me right now. In the U.S., having grown up here as a child of immigrants who are Middle Eastern and having like grown up during 9/11 and having experienced the racism from that, like I understand this country as a racist country, obviously, but I still am shocked by just how virulently bloodthirsty the people who run this country are when it comes to Palestinians, when it comes to Arabs. They don't care. Like we're all watching people carrying the limbs of their children that they've had to dig from under the rubble. And you see people have lost their homes and their families. They're living without
It is so mask off, and
shelter,
it's going to be
without
impossible to put the mask back on
Like,
again.
women are getting C-sections without anesthesia.
And their amputations.
Babies, oh my God.
An entire nation of Stuart Seldmans.
Genocide. There was the phase where they were just like starving premature babies. Israel was enthusiastically letting 3 premature babies die. And the people who run this country were like, yeah, that seems fair. They're not here. Like, that's essentially the message that I've received. I'm sure all of you have received, is that people in the global south are not human. And Gaza is the embodiment of that at this moment. It is like
seriously
a
plum tree.
version of what the West wants for the global south, is like annihilation. Like, if you fight back, we will kill all of you because you are not human. That's what I see right now.
And it's like this ridiculous false dichotomy, or not false dichotomy, but this ridiculous premise of like, what else is Israel supposed to do? Don't they have the right to defend themselves? It's like, how on earth can you pretend what they're doing now is self-defense? How is targeting journalists self-defense? How is targeting babies, like you just mentioned, Abby, self-defense? Or people having amputations
Yeah, Zine, we've seen the most horrendous things you can possibly imagine.
Bloodlust, and it's because there is such a dehumanization of Palestinians in particular, Arabs in general, but especially Palestinians. And it's, it's just the response from the United States is like, don't worry, guys, we're having tough talks. We're having hard conversations.
Biden's so upset. He's so upset at Netanyahu.
That's what Jake Sullivan says. And then if you ask if they're committing genocide, they say that they don't want to play judge and juror.
I mean, yeah, Gaza's always been like a testing ground, and it's so disturbing to just see it as far as they'll take it, just being greenlit, and it's like everyone's just watching this.
There's definitely some kind of psychological thing as well, where it's like, it's not just about, like, Israel and Palestine is like a microcosm of this whole, like, the garden in the jungle and all this stuff, this analogy, you know, like the outpost of Western civilization with the Asiatics, the hordes defending the West. That's exactly why we're supporting such depravity, because ultimately, deep down, we have this fear of everything that we've stolen being taken away, you know, of the same kind of invasion. Like white ruling class people in the United States have had this long-standing fear of rebellion, like slave rebellion, prison break, very similar to what happened with Gaza, you know? I think there was a lot of people in the American ruling class that during those George Floyd protests were like, it's happening. That's the fear, right? That's the fear. There's going to be an uprising of all the people that we've kept as this like secondary class for years and years. And sometimes we've tried to disguise it. Sometimes we've tried to pretend that this situation has been dealt with the Civil Rights Movement, with Voting Rights Act and all this stuff. We've talked about that in the last couple of days, about how untrue and not accurate that is. But ultimately it plays on these fears that people in our ruling class have about black and brown and indigenous people from the global south, finally doing to us what we have been doing to them for hundreds and hundreds of years. You know? And that's exactly why we support Israel, no matter how depraved their actions are. Because ultimately it speaks to this fear that people in our society have, that we're going to get what's coming to us one day.
U.S. is facilitating it all. And I think that we...
And as Malcolm X said, chicken's coming home to roost. It never made me sad. It always made me glad. The tech bros are so worried about it, they're patenting explosive colors like the prisoners wear in Running Man. I mean, look at Elon Musk is a perfect example of that. He's out there fear-mongering about like this invasion, this like southern invasion, you know, of brown people invading the United States, and combining that with the like population demographic shifts. And this kind of stuff. Like, this is all part of the same colonizer mentality.
Talk about like what happened before October 7th, because
nothing.
Well,
That's when history started.
In the context of, Abby has a fantastic documentary that if you have not seen it, it's available online for free.
You really have to
Gaza
watch this
Fights for
film.
Freedom. And you collaborated on that with a bunch of really great people
because
from
I was
Gaza.
banned from getting in because, they always say like, oh, Jews can't enter Gaza. It's like, well, you're not letting them. Like you selectively decide who can be a yes man journalist to go in and toe your narrative, as we're seeing with CNN and all the censorship bureau that, like, you know, you have to like vet everything through the IDF before you can reveal anything. And so when I was there in 2016, I had all the proper credentials and paperwork, and they were just like, no, like, you're a propagandist, you're banned for life from getting in.
Yeah, and all the birth
so
rate shit. It's all just that white genocide, great replacement stuff, and then why they care about South Africa and the farmers.
During those months from 2018 to 2019, where over 200 Palestinians were assassinated by Israeli snipers. At that time, I thought that that was the most egregious thing Israel has ever done. And so we wanted to compile that story because the Western media was so egregiously, so one-sided, so disgusting, basically saying people were dying of head wounds without saying they were being targeted and shot by snipers, children, disabled people, medics, journalists, of course, Razan al-Najjar. But, you know, and it was all wrapped around international law. Like, and you think if people just saw this, if they just saw what Israel is really about, like, it's like target practice for them. I mean,
I'll be right back, folks.
There's a scene in the movie where Israeli soldiers actually released in an internal Facebook group them picking off kids and laughing about it and celebrating. And people always ask, like, oh my God, how did you get that footage? It's like, they released that themselves because they celebrate that internally, and it got leaked. But all the people involved in the film are, you know, they've all been rendered homeless. Their homes have been completely destroyed. They have no future at all. Maz Maza, the incredible, heroic videographer who filmed most of the material, he lost two brothers, not lost, they were murdered. Let's call it what it is. And, you know, they're living in tents, they're living under rubble, and every day is a gift because they think they could just die at any moment. And how do you even check in at this point, you know? And there's Ahmed Amu Artema, who was the incredible lead organizer of the Great March. His house was targeted because Israel's using this war to just execute all of their political dissidents, all the political dissidents who they've been basically taking names of. And so they bombed Ahmed's home, and his 10-year-old son was murdered alongside 5 of his family members, and he's sitting in a hospital with second-degree burns. So it's so real because everyone has a story. It's not just the people that I know, it's every single person in Gaza has lost almost everything because there's no rebuilding this. You can't rebuild that. Like, we've just let this happen. Like, not we, but I mean the West has facilitated this and let this happen. It's disgusting.
Empowered it. Facilitated it. Yeah, facilitated it, yeah. Coordinated it.
But I know I've been talking forever, but I wanted to really quickly, like, back in 2014 during Operation Protective Edge, another Orwellian, like, dystopian name for just slaughtering Palestinians. I'll never forget, I was working at Russia Today, and I did this rant.
Get out. Sorry, you have to leave.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a Russian.
Sorry, wow, out.
Do you condemn Putin? So I remember I did this video. It became viral in the Middle East because it was an indictment on Western journalism for not doing their jobs and not documenting Israeli war crimes at the time. So it became viral in Palestine. And right after that happened, Israeli forces bombed the Al-Sharok journalist tower, and an RT cameraman's leg was blown off. And so our boss at RT was like, issued a stern letter to authorities being like, did you know that you did this? And like, what are you gonna do? And they were just like, RT has taken a side in the coverage. Of course we knew there were journalists in the building.
So disgusting.
And so I think that was like my first insight, like, oh, this is like a special kind of impunity and a special kind of brazenness that not even the United States would do because it cares too much about its image, but its appendage, Israel can and will do anything.
Yeah, and see, most liberals would be like, whatever, I don't care. Putin, RT, you should get your legs blown off if you work there.
Israel will
That's the average
on film,
civilized liberal in the United States.
Maniacally about it, like their soldiers will. Their soldiers will release footage on TikTok showing you how much they enjoy killing Palestinian babies, and then the Israelis will say we're the victims. It's completely batshit. Like, I don't even know what you do with that.
Well, Abby, you actually had a special. Oh, by the way, is there any way we could get some white wine up here? Sorry, I can't do red wine. It'll stain. And
I'm gonna need some prosecco.
Yeah, I don't care what
Can
kind.
I speak to the manager?
Yeah. No, it'll just give me a headache. So
Karen, pipe down.
But
But no, really,
No.
wine would be fantastic if we have it.
Abby, you.
But no, seriously, we need wine.
Yeah, we
Seriously,
need, we need wine.
I'll take
This isn't a
vodka.
joke.
I'll take vodka too.
You were in Israel and you documented some of this genocidal rhetoric. We have a video of that. Can we take a look at that?
Yeah, this is a fun one. Go, yeah.
Sure, do it. There's only one way, like, I would carpet bomb them.
You would
That-
carpet bomb them?
It's the only way you could deal with it. Like, or try to stop them a different way. It never worked.
You mean all Arabs or Gaza or?
I believe that I hope to believe they're not, but I do think
Basically
they
saying
are,
all
'cause
Arabs. Carpet bomb all Arabs.
I don't trust them. You can't trust them, and that's the only way I believe that. The only way is just to stop it completely.
I think that we're miserable. The Arabs make a פיגועים and we need to kill Arabs.
Oh, so funny.
Okay.
We'll talk about this later.
All right, cool. Well,
There is also Jewish civilians that hate Arabs. Yeah, I'm not saying, but we have also people that like the Arabs and everything, like Smolanim.
I think another thing that the Jews should have rights to hate them. I think we have the right to hate them. I don't see a reason why not.
And again,
I
never
wouldn't trust
applied.
any of them.
I like
Never
how the other
applied
guy
to
was
the
just
other
like,
side.
Oh yeah, like no, and he was like, no. We
Also,
have the
Ali,
right to hate all of them, and we
you
should
were-
carpet bomb them all.
You weren't like doing gotchas. You were just walking in the street, like you. And those.
But when
by the way, you
Palestinians
should
have a
watch the whole video.
negative
It's like-
perception
it
of
was like
Israelis,
dozens of people.
Well, yeah, it's crazy.
they're just
Everyone's always
racist.
Like, you wanted to make Israelis look bad. I was like, I genuinely didn't know what I was getting into at all. I had no idea that I was like in Nazi Germany until you just start talking to me. It was like the most basic question, like, how do you feel about the situation? Kill them all, carpet bomb them all. You're like, oh my God, what is happening here? I mean, pre-October 7th, I mean, this was just the every day in Israeli society. And you go back to the Great March of Return when they...
Remember what they say about Palestinians, too. They teach them to hate. From the time they're little kids, they just teach them. They teach them to hate. Can you believe these barbarians? This is why they deserve what they're getting right now. That's what they say.
Off people one by one for doing nothing but peacefully protesting, and 95% of Israelis supported the shoot to kill if you just venture too close to that artificial border fence in Gaza.
You know how many Israelis want a ceasefire right now, according to a poll? Like, I think from the last couple months, so I don't know.
0.01.
2%? It's like 3%. Yeah, wow, you guys underestimated. But tell me, like, who are you supposed to make peace with? Peace with? When only 3% of people are, and it's probably like 3% that they accidentally asked an Arab, because like 20% of the population is Palestinians. They forgot to ethnically cleanse.
Yeah, the Arabs there.
They were like, oops, we left these villages here.
But the only reason that became so viral is because you never see Israelis speaking for themselves. I mean, they were speaking knowing that they were on camera. That's what's so bizarre.
Right,
about
this
it.
wasn't like a hidden camera.
No, this was like, okay, what are you guys saying off camera? This is like what you're
this
proudly
is
saying
their,
on
like, politically
camera.
correct version.
And it's like all these Western journalists that just go and they're based in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and they just reprint press releases from the military. It's like, do they not talk to people, or do they all just like laugh about this?
No, they cover it up because, like, Isabel Kirshner of the New York Times, her kid is in the IDF.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Israeli Army. I can't even call it the IDF.
IOF.
The IOF. No, but seriously, her son is like an Israeli soldier, and she is like their correspondent. That is such a conflict of interest. Could you imagine if the Beirut bureau chief for the New York Times had like a family member in Hezbollah? The only way that would be allowed is if they were like a self-hating Shia.
Right.
And anyone who that's the only way that would even be allowed. And even then, it's always a white person.
I know, Crackety Crack. We watched the clip earlier. It's absolutely insane.
Constantly covering that. So a lot of them have an interest in covering it up, and they do.
Another thing that is so infuriating is the insistence that Palestinians use, like, it's so unfortunate. We don't want to kill them, but unfortunately they use human shields. Meanwhile, there's like a recent video of Israelis using a human shield. No one ever talks about that. And human rights organizations have documented Israel using human shields. They haven't documented Hamas using human
There's a
shields.
name for it. Israel has a name for it. It's called the good neighbor policy.
Oh, that's great.
They
They're
use
so
a Palestinian
Good.
to like basically they'll make them walk ahead of them or make them go into someone else's home in case it's booby trapped.
Yeah.
Or so that if there's other Palestinians like with guns in the home,
Yeah.
they won't fire
Right.
because there's a Palestinian they'll force to walk in front of them because they're the most brave army in the world.
And the other thing is this insistence
And
that
the moral.
the
It's
most
moral.
moral army in the world, right? And the insistence that it's so unfortunate Palestinians, they don't value life, they just value death. Israelis value life, not death. Meanwhile, it's unbelievable that they don't even do anything to forget. We know that they hate Palestinians, but they don't do anything to even free the hostages. I mean, not only do they not free them, they kill their own hostages.
Hannibal Directive.
And the Hannibal Directive, which says that you can't let hostages, that you have to kill the hostages, right? So that
Before
you
they
don't have
become-
to-
before they're
they
taken
become
hostage.
prisoners of war.
Yeah.
So that they can't use them as leverage.
Yeah.
Like Gilad Shalit. They
And
don't
they've
want that
already
again.
killed like several hostages from, I mean, so many during the
They've
Nova
only
Festival.
been,
and
as far
it
as I
looked like the highway of
understand, they've
death.
only been killed by Israel.
I don't think,
There's one more comment about just the non-existence of the left in Israeli society. Because for my entire life, I was just, ever since I became awakened to the situation, the reality of it, it's always been like the left, like we need to embolden the left, and the left's going to change Israeli society from within. Not the case at all. I mean, a lot of leftists flee because how the fuck can you live
Bio
in a fascist
1969.
society like
Thank
that?
you. I
It's
appreciate
actually
it.
dangerous, more so now than ever. But when I was there were mass rallies, not only chanting "kill the Arabs," but also like "death to the leftists" and "death to the
Like a special
videographers."
slur, right?
There's a slur. There's a slur in Israeli. I mean, yeah, leftist is a slur. I met people who called themselves leftists, and they said, "I want the occupation to be more humane."
That's as far left as it
And
goes.
it's like, what? And then, and then also there's a saying in Israeli society that this leftist kid told me. He was like, yeah, there's a saying that leftists are AIDS and Arabs are the common cold. You have to get rid of the left before you get the final solution. I was like, oh, you guys are
Final
just-
solution. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where'd they get that word
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
So, whoa.
Well, we want to ask you, Rania, shifting gears a little bit, to talk about what's happening in the region. So we were just talking about Israel-Palestine, but what is happening in the rest of the Middle East?
So like I wrote things around my notes, and one of them says not proxies. Axis of resistance is class struggle. Am I allowed to say that?
Well, what is the axis
I
of
have that
resistance?
written twice.
Break that down.
And
Yeah. Break it all
also,
down.
it's not the Middle East of 2003.
Okay, so what's the axis of resistance? Let's start there.
So, the axis of resistance, it's a collection of, you can't really call them armies because some of them are, as they call them, non-state actors, but it's a collection of fighting forces across the region who are committed to protecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of their countries against imperialism. And the sort of leadership of the axis of resistance, because of its support for it, is Iran, at least, culturally and monetarily. And when it comes to weapons.
Did they sponsor your trip here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm neither yes nor no because I don't want to offend anyone on any side.
Iranian stooge.
But I mean, some people would say, I've been called Irania before.
Yeah, I'm going to show the link right
I
now.
like
Funny one,
that.
right?
I may not agree with them, but they're
Yeah,
smart and
here's
funny.
the video.
That's one of the only smart and funny ones. Sometimes it's
In the
really
chat.
stupid.
Really-
Like
that's
my
really
favorite,
stupid.
my
That's really
favorite is why don't you go live in Iran? And I'm like, okay.
You don't speak Farsi.
Go back
No,
to
I
your
mean,
Take a
I'll
Farsi
visit.
craft
I'm down
course.
with visiting Iran, but like, okay. Anyway, but no, so Iran is sort of like the leader of it. It's a country, right? It has an army. It's like has a functioning government, and then you have a bunch of forces. Obviously,
Larger than usual demo in Tel Aviv right now, and hostage families have shut down a highway. I think that's the really amazing thing. All the thing about the hostages. If only we were just need to protect these hostages. That's why we need to engage in this mass murder campaign, this genocidal campaign of the last 3 months. And you have families of these hostages begging the government to stop and to trade whoever they need to trade to get the hostages back, and they're routinely shut down. And again, it reminds me, when we talk about Israel's 9/11, there's some strong similarities to 9/11 in that not only is there a lot of ambiguity about how the thing happened in the first place and who exactly was responsible and what role these nefarious security forces played in that, But there's also the fact that like the families are the families of the victims are some of the primary people that are trying to advocate for like finding out the truth and to stop the violence being done in the name of the people that were killed. Like we talk about with 9/11, like, oh, you're one of these crazy 9/11 conspiracy theorists. Some of the most fervent 9/11 conspiracy theorists are the families of the victims of 9/11 who have been stonewalled at every turn when they're trying to find answers specifically about the Saudi Arabian role in 9/11. But again, I'm getting off track, but the similarity there is that you've got these families of hostages begging the government to stop what they're doing and get their people back, which could have happened on October 8th, by the way, as we've talked about many times. And just basically being totally stonewalled and silenced. Meanwhile, the hostages are used as justification for this genocidal campaign. Yeah, the families of the hostages are the only ones who actually seem to care about these hostages. For sure.
I think the most militarily significant one in terms of its power to fight is Hezbollah in Lebanon. Of course, there's Palestinian factions across Gaza and the West Bank. Hamas is the one we hear the most about, but there are actually a lot of other groups, and they're all working together right now, including a leftist one too, but we don't hear about those ones either. But anyways, so you have Palestinians, you have Hezbollah, which is Lebanese, you have in Iraq, you have various forces inside what's called the Hashd al-Shabi, or the Popular Mobilization Forces, which were formed after ISIS took large swaths of Iraq back in 2014.
We have an estimate of how many Palestinians are being held in jail with no charges. I haven't seen like an official number, but it's in the thousands. And these are people that have been hostages for years, not since October 7th, but years. Hostages that were kidnapped when they were little kids going to school and have been in prison where they're being subjected to God only knows what kind of abuse for years. You know? And yeah, for like throwing a rock or even being suspected of throwing a rock. Sometimes without even any charges at all. You know? And then we talk about this hostages on October 7th. Like it's this horrific, unforgivable crime that these hostages could be taken. And it's completely ignored. Just totally ignored. Totally ignored. This has been going on for years and years and years.
They came together to fight ISIS, and the U.S. identifies a few of them as terrorist organizations.
Like, really, what are people supposed to do in that situation?
That don't like America,
what are you supposed to do?
And fight America sometimes. And then
if you want to have freedom and actual human rights and dignity, and you want to get your people back.
Who are fulfilling their obligation, right? Like, as well as every country
I want to
should.
say a few things about the other ones, but I do want to just first say some things about the Yemenis, because I think the Yemenis have taken the world by storm. It's fascinating. I think the Yemenis are doing material damage.
Yeah, you're supposed to organize massive peaceful protests and get your knees sniped off.
This is humanitarian intervention.
While all of Western media and politics calls you terrorists.
They're blockading.
Sorry, I just want to listen to Rania's comments here because I've talked about it, the amount of blowback that I got for this tweet and all the community notes when I put out this tweet talking about how Yemen is defending human rights and international law, which I was objectively correct to say, and I don't regret and I don't apologize for, by the way. And so I want to hear Rania's comments on this.
Yeah, I want to say a few things about the other ones, but I do want to just first say some things about the Yemenis, because I think the Yemenis have taken the world by storm. It's fascinating. I think the Yemenis are doing material damage. They're causing economic consequences for genocide. This is humanitarian intervention. What they're doing,
and Rania reposted my comments as well. I really appreciate Rania.
And not any ships. They're not blockading all ships. Initially, they were only obstructing the movement of ships that had a destination for this fake country called Israel, calls itself Israel. And so this was, and they said repeatedly, this group called Ansar Allah, which runs Yemen right now, that fought a several years long war, some might even call it a genocide, that the US and the UK and the Saudis were inflicting
And
on
Canada.
them, and they won. They were saying repeatedly, their leadership over and over, you can go hear their interviews. They said, as long as this genocide of Gaza continues, as long as humanitarian aid is not allowed in, we will obstruct any ship coming from anywhere that is destined for Israel. And they did that. And they did that quite non-violently, and I would say in the sense of they didn't kill anyone. But the U.S. got really mad and bombed them for it as a result recently. And it's just crazy how much the U.S. is willing to escalate. And I just want to note, you shouldn't mess with Yemenis. You saw that video we showed you in the beginning, but there's one video I have watched probably 100 times. I think it was like a month into the genocide.
It's really satisfying.
One of my personal trainers sent it to me.
One of her many.
One of my
personal
many.
trainers.
No, I have two. I have two who I love dearly. But one of them actually sent it to me because he's like super political, and he was like, "This video is so cool." And it's like this just Yemeni guy on the street video, and it's a pretty, I think, common.
Ronnie is very
attitude of
strong.
Yemenis, and I want that clip to be shown if possible.
I would not ever fuck with. I think Ronnie could probably pick me up over her head and slam me to the ground.
With them, we don't fucking give a shit to them, and we don't care, and they will never scare us. They will never stop us. We are coming from Yemen, from Sana'a to Palestine very soon, inshallah, because we are with our leader, Sayyid Abdul Malik Badruddin al-Houthi, and we know that we are in the right side. So no one can stop us. We know our way. We know that we are in the right side. So we're gonna come to the White House, and we will change it from the White House to the Black House and Dirty House. Just wait for us, and that's it.
Preach. Preach.
We should nominate him for president.
Yeah. You can come. You can be your White House, sir. But I mean, that is a rare. I mean, I don't think people understand. Like, Yemenis have already sacrificed so much, and they're willing to sacrifice more. Like, when people have nothing to lose, and you have everything to lose, like, it's on their side, not yours. And I think that that's a microcosm of the struggle across the region right now. Palestinians are fighting, like, yes, there's a genocide happening, and it's horrific, and we should all be disgusted and grieving over it. But we cannot forget the fact that Palestinians are resisting. They are resisting courageously every single day in many different ways. They are resisting. They're so brave. They're so creative. I mean, it's across Palestine and even outside of Palestine. People are resisting in so many different ways, and we can't erase that, and we need to let that inspire us. Inspire us right now, because people are resisting a genocide. If there were fighters and writers and protesters inside any death camp during the Holocaust, inside the Warsaw Ghetto, we would be remembering them today as the bravest, most courageous, and there were, as the bravest, most courageous people in the world. And there is this double standard, right? Where Israelis and their supporters get to go on the internet and they get to celebrate doing genocide. They get to take photos and videos and put them online and laugh and joke and plan more, and nothing happens. There's no consequence. But then an Arab writes that they're prideful of their resistance online, it gets taken down, they lose their job. Like, they even try to take away the right of people to celebrate their resistance. And our resistance here is all the protests that are happening, and they're so important. But
which were painted as pro-Hamas celebrations at the beginning.
Pro-terrorist protests.
Pro-terrorist protests. But I just want to say a couple more things, and I'll stop rambling. But I have spent the majority of the time post-October 7th in Lebanon. And I think I'm happy I got to be there, and I'm going back in a week, and I'm happy to go back. And it has definitely been a little scary to be there, you know, in the sense of every single day you live next to this psychotic neighbor who's like threatening to annihilate you. So literally, like, every day the Israelis are like, we're gonna take Lebanon back to the Stone Age. We're gonna turn Beirut into Gaza. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says he wants to copy-paste Gaza onto Beirut, which just reminds me of, like, I know English isn't his first language, which is fine. It's kind of funny. I'm gonna copy-paste. I will copy-paste this, but no, it's like I'm gonna copy-paste genocide. It's disgusting. So that's a little bit frightening to hear. You see, it's psychological terror. They're trying to psychologically terrorize their neighbors who aren't in Gaza. But it's not working. People are not scared of them anymore. This is not the Middle East of 2003. This is the Middle East of 2024. There are forces of resistance across the region who refuse to be bullied, who refuse to be terrorized, and who refuse to submit.
People have had enough.
Disgusting, thuggish bullying that we're seeing. And I think it's incredible. I think it's an incredible moment. And I think it's going to be, we're going to look back at this years from now and see it as a huge turning point in history, because what's happening in Gaza, I mentioned
People in
my
this
notes
region
said
have had enough.
Gaza's class struggle. What's happening in Gaza is you have people in the global south fighting colonizers. They're fighting imperialism. America backs Israel. Israel is an arm of American imperialism, and people are fighting it. They are fighting imperialism. And it's anti-imperialism that we're witnessing right now on a huge scale. The Israelis
Hello, Beast
say,
to Dawn. My day is going pretty good.
We're going to defeat Hamas. We're going to defeat Hezbollah every single
How about you?
day. Hamas fires at Israel. You have achieved nothing militarily. And just to show you the fearlessness of the Lebanese, because they know that today they have an army, they have Hezbollah. They're not scared, at least not especially not in the south. It sucks and it is scary, but they're not scared because in the past, whenever Israel wanted to bomb Lebanon, the first thing they would do is bomb the airport. It's been almost 4 months, and you know what they haven't done? They haven't bombed the airport. That's huge. That's huge. Every time anybody fired at Israel, they would bomb the airport. And now the airport's been functioning for 4 months, and there's only one reason for that. Like it or hate it, it's because Hezbollah has strategic deterrent capacity against Israel. Israel knows if we bomb the airport in Beirut, which they still might, but they know if we bomb the airport in Beirut, they're going to bomb Ben Gurion. And they're not going to bomb Ben Gurion with homemade rockets that aren't precision guided. They're going to use precision guided missiles that will do real damage and will shut down our airport. So they think 100 times before they bomb what they want to bomb in Lebanon. And that's the difference between today and before. And I want to show this one journalist in particular. He is a correspondent for an outlet called Al Mayadeen, which the Israelis just banned in Israel because they call it an arm of terrorism.
Where is it based?
It's based in Lebanon. It's a Lebanese outlet. It's called Al Mayadeen.
Okay, that's a good place to leave it, actually. That's a really good place to leave it. I'm running a little low on time. Once again, there's the link to the video if you want to watch the rest of it. It's still barely even half over, and I only have about another half an hour to stream, so I think that's a good place to leave it. But please do watch the rest of the video and support the work that Rania, Abby, and Katie all do. People that I'm proud to be connected to in this whole independent media world. Rania is a former guest of the show. Both Katie and Abby Martin have appeared on my podcast before. I'd like to get them both on this show, though. So please make sure you support the work that they're all doing. Again, it's something that I'm very proud of, to be kind of connected to this movement, to be connected to this kind of this independent media world that's able to kind of tell these promote these narratives and tell these stories and try and do anything we can to create an alternative to just the relentlessly pro-Israel, pro-genocide mainstream media and mainstream political narrative that we're constantly being force-fed. It's something that I'm really, really proud of being a part of, honestly. On that note, if you do want to support the work that I do on here, it's been 3 months of covering this ongoing genocide in Gaza. Again, I'm happy to be able to promote these kinds of stories. I'm proud that we've been able to kind of promote these narratives and do what we can on here to overcome just this relentless propagandistic, false version of reality that our mainstream media and politics tries to force feed us constantly. If you can, support this stream with a sub or a gifted sub.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Cheers, boss.
bits, like Beastadon just donated. Thank you, Beastadon, for the 200 bits, or aka friend coin, or a tip. Anything that you can do is very, very helpful. It's the only way that I'm able to continue doing this show is if people subscribe and I make the little number go up at the bottom of the screen every single day. So if you can, please subscribe and support the work that I do on here. It means a lot, and it's I really, really appreciate everybody that tunes into this show and is able to support it. We've got a couple of non-subbed chatters right now. We've got Zeem8, who I'm sure would appreciate a gift sub. We've got a number of, is Zeem subscribed or not? I can't tell. I can't tell, actually. There's no sub badge. We've got Surfer McGritty's unemployed. He's looking for a gift. They're looking for a gift sub. Anything that people can do, it's all very much appreciated.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
It's very much appreciated, and you help me do this show each and every day. I couldn't do it without you. And I hope you'll tolerate these segments when I try and pitch these kinds of the subscriptions, etc. It's an unfortunate part of having to do this. Believe me, I would prefer not to, but it really is the only way that I can keep doing this. Crystal, thank you for the gifted sub as well. Zeem8 says, first time here. I'll be back with my Prime sub soon. Well, I would appreciate that, Zeem, but maybe someone will be able to help you out. Thank you, Risk Inverse, for the $15. That's so kind of you. Risk Inverse, thank you very much. Look at the little dance.
Support independent journalism, like Rob.
Thank you, Risk Inverse, for that. That's very kind of you. Zeem says they'll come back with the Prime sub. Maybe a generous chatter will be there to gift a sub to Zeem8 or to Surfer McGritty, who raided in earlier. Perhaps there's a generous chatter that's that can give out some gift subs to those fine folks. Risk Inverse, that's much appreciated. Thank you for that. Also, I guess I should say, if you're tuning in for the first time or you're lurking right now, just smashing the follow button, also important. I'm getting up towards 10K followers, so if you're watching today for the first time and you appreciate the show or the commentary, you want to be part of the community, you want to keep coming back, please follow. That's also very helpful. We've got October 7th birthday, Zeem8 and Surfer McGritty, all little small beans looking for gift subs. Join the Friendship Triangle system, get access to all the wonderful tiny little images. On the leaderboard right now, we've got Calm Like a Tom currently leading this month in gifted subs. We've got Diego, aka Comrade Social Distancing, in second. We've got Kijiji Genie in third with 15. Take care, Joe. Thanks again for the tip. I appreciated that. Thank you, Joe.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Sikalufakis, thanks so much for the gifted sub to Surfer McGritty. Thank you, Sikalufakis. And a mere 27 subs away from the goal as well. Only 27 subs away from the goal. Barely anything at all.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Well. Sorry I'm late.
10,000 sandwiches, thank you for the 38-month resub at tier 2. Thank you, 10,000 sandwiches. Let me in your shoes, says Spider in a Shoe, which is apparently Spider for please gifty. We got a number of people. A number of unsubbed, poor, lowly, unsubbed chatters on the outside of the friendship triangle and looking in. If there's some generous community members that want to help out some of these fine folks, it would help me out and it would help them as well. There's a number of people in the chat right now that don't have access to all the wonderful tiny images and all the various other benefits of being part of the friendship triangle system. And we are a mere 26 subs away from the goal as well. What else is there? We got Saturday. If you're in Montreal, the surrounding area, please come to the show on Saturday, live show. Going to be very fun. Oh, I didn't realize my backlight was on this whole time. It's causing some flickering.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Spider in a Shoe, thanks for the Prime sub. You got in the shoe anyways. You managed to get in there. Thank you, Spider in a Shoe. I really appreciate that. Brand new community member. We love that. Sorry, Rob. Work got in the way of watching
You've
your
just
stream.
become an elite member of the Friendship
goodness.
Triangle.
That's totally fine. Kijiji, thanks for joining us. I don't have too much longer. I got to go in about 25 minutes or so. I'm in everyone's favorite segment when I try to get people to subscribe to the show. And 10,000 sandwiches. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. 10,000 sandwiches. That is so many sandwiches. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. That's very kind of you. I just want to do a little lighting experiment here.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Let's see, I turned this up and I turned this on. Okay. That's okay, that's brighter. Lodane, thanks for the gifted sub. I feel like Lodane should not be gifting subs in this channel. But I really do appreciate it, Lodane. Thank you. This is way better. I'm just wondering, I hate turning on the big light, but I'm wondering if that would like improve the lighting of the show, because sometimes it gets dark. It starts getting dark outside, then my screen gets all dark. Let's just try a little experiment here. Well, that's so bright. I hate putting on the big light, but it kind of works. What do we think? Such brightness. cameras and dark don't really mix. I guess the problem is it gets hard when I lose light, and then what looks good earlier in the day starts to look worse, and then if it's like I have to reevaluate the whole thing. I don't know. We don't need to do inside baseball lighting talk. But we are a mere 19 subs away from the goal. We're getting there. We still do have some lowly unsub chatters as well. So if anyone else wants to, and I'm sorry for this, again, as you can see from the description below me, no arms manufacturer sponsorships over here, or any kind of corporate financial banking, no state actors that I know of, no intelligence agencies. I just got the viewers and the listeners of this show. That's all I got. And it's the only way that I'm able to keep doing it is through the extremely generous actions of the community members. So if you can, please subscribe. 19 subs to go to get to the goal. Barely anything at all. I know we can do it. If you can, please do support this program, support the work that I do on here. Every little bit goes a real long way and really helps me out a lot.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Kijiji, thanks for the gifted sub and for all the support. Very much appreciated, Kijiji Genie. I don't know where that puts Kijiji in the... It's being blocked by this potential hype train thing. We are 20 seconds away from a hype train. Another gifted sub would kick off this hype train, which would be very exciting for everybody.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Diego, thank you for the gifted sub and for all the support over the years. Love you, Diego. Thank you so much. Now pulling ahead by 2. Very much appreciated. Now we got a little hype train. We're 17 subs to go to get to the goal. So not only could we get through this hype train, get access to some very cool exclusive tiny little images from Twitch, we could also get to the daily sub goal, which would be absolutely wonderful as well. So if anyone else out there wants to support this show with bits or a subscription or gifted subs, what have you, whatever you can do, it's all very, very much appreciated. It means a lot, and it's the only way that I'm able to keep doing this show, which some people seem to enjoy. Oh, I'm once again getting the 3 p.m. sleepies as well. I'm getting the 3 p.m. sleepies. My Monster Energy didn't quite give me the energy boost that I needed today to make it through the whole day. A big hit carried me through about the first hour of this show. My body just instantly processes all that caffeine and all that gunk. So folks, we're getting through level 3 of this hype train. There's some cool emotes. Available. If we can get through this level of the hype train. So if anyone else wants to support the show, now is the time to do it. I enjoy the first hour and last hour of the show. I'm not too sure about the political stuff in the middle. Maybe I should just do more shows that are just like, maybe one per week that's just all bullshit. Maybe I should just have one bullshit episode per week. Maybe people would like that. I don't know. The barber shop. There we go. That sounds good. If you decide to do that, make it Friday, just like how the Super Mario cartoon had that stupid Zelda shit on Friday. I just don't remember watching that much. We got 2 minutes to go, folks. Still making our way through this level 3 of the hype train. We got 2 minutes to go. Please, if you can, subscribe or gift subs. Any little bit helps. Yeah, it means a lot. It helps keep this show on the air. We'll get access to all kinds of new tiny images. If you can, please support the work that I do on here with a sub, a gifted sub, or a bits, or a tip, or what have you. It's all really, really helpful. Are there any other non-subbed chatters that are in the market for a gift sub, or did everyone get covered? If you're looking for a gift sub, speak now, and perhaps a generous chatter will be able to help you out. We got one possible contender. We got one possible sub. We got a gift sub wanter. We got a couple of gift sub wanters.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Kijiji, thank you for the gifted sub and for all the support. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. If you're a new viewer, please enjoy all the wonderful tiny images.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all
and
this.
Risk Inverse, thanks for the gifted sub as well. It's very kind of you. Very, very much appreciated, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting this
You can
program.
count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And Crystal, thank you for gifting us another sub as well. Thank you, Crystal. Look at that. Yeah, and please do, if you're a new community member, please do join the Discord server. And Zeem somehow dodged all those gifted subs. Oh my goodness. Z-Mate dodged all the gifted subs. Please do join the Discord server, though. It's really fantastic. Please do. All kinds of great stuff going on in there. TikTok banned the Yemeni pirate heartthrob. Yeah, I guess that's not surprising. It's amazing how... Thank you, Zeem. I appreciate that. It's amazing how with all the accusations about TikTok being some kind of like arm of Chinese Western subversion, how often it seems to act as a arm, just as many other social media companies do, act as like an arm of Western security state apparatus. You know, just because people have learned about Palestine and learned about the crimes of Israel on TikTok, people are telling it, you got to shut it down. We got to get rid of it. You know, and meanwhile, they often show the ability or the willingness to silence and ban accounts that get accused of this kind of thing. Rob's Twitter is fire, and he is only occasionally silenced by Elon. That was quite an exciting time, wasn't it? Oh my gosh. Yeah, almost like it's not CCP controlled. You would think people would realize that now, but... My new followers I'm topped out at 98.6k. I thought maybe we'd get to 100K, Rob. I guess it's still a possibility. I need to tweet more, though. I don't have thoughts. I don't have thoughts in my head. My head is just totally empty.
I went to Canada, asked them about their gun laws. That's a few different people. And from what I could tell in Canada, it's like extremely difficult to get a gun, but if you can get one, you can only keep it at your house, which I guess that sucks, because what if you have enemies to kill? What do you do then? You have to invite them over? I was like, yo, this is why you Canadians get that stereotype that you're all polite, man, because somebody does you dirty, you're like, what? You slept with my wife? Come over for dinner tonight. I went to Canada, asked them about their...
Very nice. I probably should be marketing the Elon ban more. I don't know. That's right, Zim. I am Canadian. Well, I'm Canadian. I live in Montreal. Montreal's not, I don't really think of Montreal really as Canada. Montreal is kind of its own unique city-state in North America, but I did grow up in Eastern Ontario, so yeah, that makes me pretty fucking Canadian. I'm really not French Canadian. I'm really not. Heard so many cool things about Montreal. It's really one of the best cities. It's a world-class city. I love it. I don't love everything about it, but it is one of the best places to live. Join the debate brosphere, start some Twitch drama. On the contrary, I have these dramatic Twitch debate freaks and sickos constantly trying to bait me into like getting into discourse with them, and I just refuse to do so. I just can't do it. I just don't. There's nothing these people can say that's going to make me want to talk to them. I gotta get going, folks. We got another 14 subs to go. You know, it's a bit of a shorter stream today. I would like to stick around longer and try to see if we can drum up some more support, but I gotta get going soon. But I really appreciate everyone that hung out today and tuned in. As always, thanks so much to everyone who watches this program and tunes in and supports the work that I do on here. It means so much to me. It really does. I felt bad yesterday because yesterday was kind of a slow day. People, and I always feel self-conscious, and I don't want to seem like ungrateful. I really don't. Like, I don't want to like seem ungrateful, or like it's not meaningful to me that there's people that show up here every day and support the work that I do. Like, that means so much to me. And I don't want anyone to ever think that I take that for granted, or that like, you know, that I'm like not appreciative of that, because I really, really am. Like, the economic realities of like being alive mean that I have to make an income from this show. I hope people understand that I have to kind of promote that aspect. It's always been the thing that makes me very uncomfortable about doing this. But believe me, I really, really appreciate everyone that tunes in and supports this program. I'm going to raid our friend Laura Lux. Laura Lux is, I think, talking to some fake Laura Luxes right now. That should be kind of funny. And I don't know if we've raided Laura before. I like Laura. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow, folks. Take care. I love you. Peace.